main power of totalitarianism is not just the power of the state, but it's the power of the lower orders that actually support it by virtue of the fact that they support the, or they express their feelings of envy about anybody who will stand out from the general crowd.
But that's not really if you'll excuse me, that's not really what you started from. Where you started from is that where we're going is that the denial of objective realities is the start of it. And where, say, the issues of transgenderism and all these things is the denial of the reality of the biological. So you have to, it starts with the suppression of the biological. The suppression of fact.
The suppression of fact is what is essential about what is necessary for the continuation of a totalitarian regime. And in that sense, a totalitarian regime has to have doublethink, as Orwell pointed out. At some point, if you're going to navigate around the world, you have to look at the stars and this and that and the other and calculate how you're going to get around the world. If you want to assume that reality is in fact determined by political ideology, which is what the party did in 1984, as O'Brien said to Winston, if the party wants to say that the stars are only points of light a few hundred meters above our head, that is what is reality. If we have to adapt a different reality to navigating around the world, then we will have that one too. There will be a schizophrenic society where there is this reality that is approved by the state and one which they actually admit to exist. Then you have to accept both these contradictory thoughts in your mind at the same time.
This is very much like modern hospitals, which actually have to administer, say, heart drugs to black people, which are different from the heart drugs that work on whites and Asians. And they have to admit that, in fact, they don't have to admit anything because they actually are not being questioned about this, but that races differ in their receptivity to different drugs.
Yes. The issue there is the fact that if you have to accept the fact there are racial differences in something, then the question arises, there may be racial differences in other things. Maybe intelligence and social ability, which cannot be accepted to exist. So they must be suppressed. And this is the problem that the thought control mechanism of the modern world faces.